This video presents Einstein's personal views, which are not in line with Islamic principles. Islam places a strong emphasis on believing in the Quran and that God is a single, unpartnerable God. Albert Einstein, one of the greatest thinkers of the 20th century, left behind a legacy that altered not just the study of physics, but also how people perceive the universe, life, and the forces that govern it. Among the many significant texts he left behind, one stands out for its deep philosophical examination of religion, life, and the cosmos, rather than its scientific achievements. The so-called Letter on God, which is a profound analysis of the fundamental ideas guiding the universe and the role of divinity in his philosophy, is more than merely a scientific assertion. In this letter, written near the conclusion of his life in 1954, Einstein addressed the long-standing question of whether the universe is guided by a divine force. This letter is especially powerful because it bridges the gap between science and religion, a subject that was rarely openly discussed during Einstein's lifetime, in addition to the deep intellectual thought that went into it. His serious views on the subject were shown when he added, "I recommend that you preserve this message through the centuries and decades. Keep this information up to date until people all around the world have progressed to a stage in their social, cultural, and scientific development where they are able to understand and absorb the information presented here." Einstein's letter has become an important historical document due to its timeliness, the amount it sold for at auction, and its content. In late 2018, the letter sold for an astounding $3 million, well exceeding its initial $1.5 million asking price. The fact that it was held in a private collection for nearly 50 years before going up for auction further adds to its value and mystique. But given that it lacked any groundbreaking discoveries or scientific formulas, why did this letter command such a high price? How could such a simple piece of text have such a significant effect on culture and thought? What insights and lessons did Einstein convey in this letter that people are still interested in today? Over the next several minutes, we will examine these questions, examining Einstein's true meaning and the reasons his theories remain relevant today. Perhaps one of the most intimate expressions of Albert Einstein's philosophical views is this letter, which he sent about a year before his death. His deep skepticism of religious belief and his attempt to explain the mysteries of the cosmos in the context of human understanding marked the culmination of his lifetime search for solutions. The letter's recipient, a philosopher named Eric Gutkind, authored a book called Choose Life, in which he examined biblical and Old Testament texts from a scientific perspective. Einstein's letter addressed the book's theme and offered a critical analysis of the interplay between religion and science. The letter essentially lays forth Einstein's complex ideas about religion and God. As he famously stated, science without the foundation of religion begins to leave its mark, while religion becomes blind without the light of science. This quote encapsulates the tension Einstein felt between these two realms. It suggests that religion and science were not mutually exclusive in Einstein's perspective, but rather interdependent for mutual understanding and coexistence. However, he was certain that when religion isn't backed up by rational scientific research, it becomes superstitious. Similar to this, he warned that science without moral and ethical underpinnings could lead humanity astray. In this remarkable letter, Einstein makes the case that traditional conceptions of God and religion are outdated and overly simplistic, particularly those based on anthropomorphic depictions of a divine being. He believed that the concept of a personal God, as it is expressed in various religions, was a reflection of human fears and insecurities and a projection of human characteristics onto the unknowable. Einstein believed that the idea of a God who watches over people, judges them, and steps in to change their lives was illogical and stupid. Instead, Einstein's idea of God was more abstract. According to him, a cosmic force, an impersonal, all-pervading force, rules the cosmos and regulates everything from star motion to atom activity. He insisted that this force could not be fully understood by religious dogma or blind faith, but only by reason and scientific inquiry. One of Einstein's most significant statements about God is the comparison he made between the complexity of the universe and the limited understanding of humans. He likened understanding the universe to a child's endeavor to understand a complex system. Similar to how a child cannot completely understand how a car engine works, humans are still in the early stages of knowing the vast and intricate workings of the planet. Our minds are still too young to completely understand the fundamental processes at play, even if we may see harmony and order in the natural world. Einstein also expressed his skepticism of conventional religious beliefs, particularly those who held that God was a human-like being protecting humanity. He criticized this perspective as an oversimplification of the divine and maintained that the fundamental ideas advanced by many religious traditions were not in line with the principles regulating the universe, which he claimed were far more complex and rational. Despite being a vital cultural and historical record, he thought the Bible was only a collection of myths and stories that, although important in and of itself, had little to contribute to our understanding of science. Einstein never completely gave up on the notion of a higher power, even though he had misgivings about traditional religion. Instead of the personal God of religious tradition, he simply believed that this force was an abstract cosmic intellect that pervades the universe. Einstein believed that rather than being chaotic or random, the cosmos was governed by cohesive and logical rules that people were only now beginning to understand. This brings us to one of Einstein's most important hypotheses, that the fundamental force in the universe is love. One of Einstein's less well-known letters was to his daughter, Liesl Einstein, who sadly passed away at an early age. In this deeply personal message, Jesus characterized love as the most powerful force in the universe, one that has the ability to transcend all other forces and guide human behavior. Love is a fundamental cosmic force that governs the actions of all living things, from the smallest particles to the largest galaxies, according to Einstein. Einstein believed that love was a power that transcended the individual and bound all people together. He believed that by battling the negative forces of greed, anger, and selfishness, love would help people discover the meaning of life. According to his belief, the power of love could heal the world, unite individuals from many nations and cultures, and restore peace to a chaotic planet. Love, in his opinion, was the key to understanding the cosmos and unleashing the possibilities for human progress. For Einstein, the idea of love as a cosmic force was not just a philosophical or sentimental idea. It was a practical and urgent call to action. He believed that humanity was on the brink of a global disaster, and that embracing love, compassion, and understanding was the only way we could hope to address the issues of injustice, devastation, and conflict. Einstein's message was, in this sense, a call for a worldwide revolution, but one that was a revolution of the heart rather than of philosophy or politics. However, Einstein was also a realist. He knew that the full extent of this message was not yet ready for humanity to embrace. He saw that it would take generations for people to grow up and acquire the knowledge necessary to completely comprehend the implications of his message. But he remained hopeful that love will one day be recognized as the fundamental factor that binds all people together. In conclusion, Einstein's letter on God is a powerful example of his intellectual and spiritual legacy. It demonstrates his deep knowledge of philosophy, his suspicion of traditional religion, and his belief that a cosmic, rational force governs the universe. It's more than just a letter. It's a profound message to the next generation that challenges us to consider love as our life's greatest compass, to consider the nature of reality, and to think critically about the world we live in. Einstein's letter is still considered a landmark, not only for its scientific worth, but also for the significant ethical and philosophical questions it raises. It challenges us to reconsider our conceptions of religion, science, and the cosmos, and to seek out deeper truths that transcend our current understanding. As we explore the mysteries of the universe, Einstein's theories remain a ray of hope, encouraging us to seek wisdom, understanding, and most of all, love. Islam maintains that God is one and unpartnerable, and that the Quran is the last source of wisdom and guidance. Even if Einstein had voiced his own views, they would not be consistent with Islamic values. What are your thoughts on this contrast? Post in the space provided for comments below. For more content that looks at significant topics from a truth-based standpoint, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us.